There's an old parable about a young, gifted warrior destined for greatness. One evening, after a grueling day of training, a creature appears in his room. It calls itself the Spirit of Seeing, and it offers him a gift, the power to witness any idealized vision his mind can conjure. The warrior asks to see legendary battles and beautiful women. The spirit provides perfectly curated, effortless illusions. Slowly, the exhausting physical demands of his sword training pale in comparison to this frictionless, perfect world. He starts skipping practice, retreating to the comfort of his room. This fable is a direct reflection of our modern reality. We carry a pocket-sized spirit of seeing with us every single day. The algorithms powering our smartphones are engineered to supply exactly what we want to see, delivering an endless stream of unchecked imagination. When we spend hours in a digital space designed to remove all resistance, the physical world begins to feel abrasive. The effort required to interact with real objects and real people starts to feel disproportionate compared to the ease of the screen. Psychologists refer to this tendency as fantasy proneness, the human mind's capacity to retreat into a highly vivid inner world, especially when external pressures mount. Take a look at this data. 73% of people use fantasy constructively, laying out blueprints for future goals. But look closely at the overlap. At the exact same time, 61% use fantasy for pure escapism, hiding from reality to cope with daily life. We are walking a fragile psychological tightrope. Every day, we are caught in a deep tension, forced to choose between using our minds to construct our future or using them to hide from our present. When this system functions correctly, psychologists call it adaptive fantasy. You can think of it as a mental flight simulator, an evolutionary feature designed to let us safely test complex scenarios before we execute them. When you mentally rehearse a difficult conversation with a boss or picture an upcoming job interview, your brain is actively working. This mental dry run builds emotional regulation and strengthens executive function, giving you the tools to handle the real event. In this healthy state, your inner life is directly tethered to physical action. The daydream is a preparatory exercise, bracing your mind for the inevitable friction of the physical world. By treating the inner world as a training ground for the outer one, we gain a specific advantage: the ability to navigate complex social hierarchies and physical dangers before they ever manifest. Now consider our young warrior again. As months turn into years, his obsession with the spirit's visions causes him to abandon his sword training entirely. His perception warps so severely that the actual people in his village begin to look plain, dull, and completely inadequate. He has crossed the threshold into what clinical researchers call maladaptive dreaming. This occurs when fantasy mutates from an expressive tool into an inescapable, paralyzing compulsion that drains your engagement with actual life. Psychology researcher Gabriele Oettingen has extensively studied this trap. Her findings reveal a counterintuitive danger hidden inside overly idealized, purely positive fantasies. This graph illustrates the mechanism. When you indulge in purely positive fantasies, you trick your brain into feeling a premature sense of accomplishment. That false satisfaction actively drains your motivation, resulting in plummeting real-world effort and lower success rates. This is the exact trap that springs on the warrior. 10 years after the spirit arrives, a demon attacks his village. The young man reaches for his sword, but he is hopelessly out of shape, too weak to defend his home. The spirit reveals itself as the devil, poisoning the town's defender with effortless fantasy. Real-world statistics back up this grim ending. Survey data shows a full 1 in 4 people report their immersive inner world has actively damaged their tangible relationships. When fantasy is used as an ejector seat to completely replace reality rather than prepare for it, it ceases to be a tool. It becomes a slow, silent poison that suffocates human potential. Eliminating the imagination is neither possible nor desirable. In the psychiatric community, a mind entirely void of fantasy is viewed as an impoverished one. True mental health requires breaking the distortion. It means actively integrating a rich, vivid inner life with the demanding, often uncomfortable friction of the tangible world. To achieve this, you must interrogate your own psychological withdrawal. You have to identify the specific triggers, whether it's acute stress or profound boredom or deep loneliness, that force you into a cycle of escapism. Breaking this cycle begins by noticing these internal shifts, locating the precise moment the mind pivots from a functional tool into a shield against reality. Psychologists recommend a specific, actionable strategy to break the cage of maladaptive daydreaming. It's called mental contrasting. The core mechanism is simple but highly effective. After you imagine a desired outcome, you must immediately force your brain to visualize the grueling real-world obstacles, the setbacks, and the friction required to actually achieve it. This psychological trick short-circuits the false sense of accomplishment. It forces your brain to recategorize the fantasy, shifting it from a passive, soothing daydream into an active, solvable plan. The human imagination is exactly like a fire. If you control it, it will keep your home warm and light your way in the dark. But if you let it run wild, it will burn the whole thing to the ground. The tool inside your head is incredibly powerful and incredibly dangerous. Take a hard look at where your mental energy goes and decide, are you the master of your inner world or merely its prisoner?